Okay, welcome to Adept Packaging's July Learning Share. Today's topic is 5 myths and 5 facts about compostable packaging. For today's presentation, all of our attendees' lines are on mute. If you would like to ask a question, you can type it into the Q&A section, which you'll find at the bottom of the Zoom window. Our presenter will pause for questions a few times during the presentation, so feel free to enter yours anytime. We'll also go over questions at the end. You'll also see we have a poll active throughout today's presentation. We'd love to hear your feedback and we do appreciate your responses. MJ Werline, Senior Sustainable Packaging Engineer for Adept Packaging, will lead today's presentation. MJ will walk us through 5 of the often repeated myths about compostables and the facts that help clear up those misunderstandings. At this time, I'll turn it over to MJ to get us started.
Good morning, everyone. Hi, I'm MJ Werline, and we'll get into our learning share for the day. What is a myth and what is a fact? As defined by Webster's Dictionary, a myth is a popular belief or tradition that has grown up around something or someone, an unfounded or false notion. A fact, a piece of information presented as having objective reality. I wanted to review these definitions because there is information out there that is yet to be supported by factual data. That does not mean that all information out there is inaccurate or misleading, but rather the scientific data has yet to be collected. Many people share false information or myths with a sort of disclaimer at the top saying something like, I don't know if it's true, but. And in my years of experience, one statement that has resounded with me is data is king. Having scientifically supported data or information can provide a basis for a fact. However, we should always keep an open mind when presented with information and apply our critical thinking skills and educate ourselves to understand whether or not the information you are receiving is a myth or a fact. Myth 1, biodegradable and compostable packaging are the same thing. I hear this an awful lot. There is a common language used by many individuals that believe that compostable and biodegradable terminology are interchangeable words. This is indeed a myth. Biodegradable products or packaging are defined as materials that can be consumed by living microorganisms such as bacteria. This reduces them into compounds that are found in nature. Compostable is used to describe a product or packaging that can disintegrate into non-toxic natural elements at a rate of like organic materials. Although these definitions are similar, they're not the same. Let's move on to a couple of differences of why they are not the same. Fact 1, biodegradable and compostable packaging are not the same thing, and the differences are some of the materials used. There are many available materials that can be used for compostable packaging solutions, such as wheat straw, bagasse, sugarcane fiber, cellulose, bamboo, recycled paper, and PLA. Bioplastics such as PLA are made from marine or plant-based materials such as corn and sugarcane, or waste agricultural byproducts like potato peels or mushrooms, instead of petroleum, and it requires less usage of fossil fuels and generates fewer greenhouse gases than petroleum-based like plastics. However, polyethylene terephthalate bioplastic is not compostable. However, it is recyclable. Unsurprisingly, this can cause confusion and means that many bioplastics are not disposed of correctly. And while all compostable materials are biodegradable, not all biodegradable materials are compostable. Although biodegradable materials return to nature and can disappear completely, they sometimes leave behind microparticulates. On the other hand, compostable materials turn back into organic matter that is full of nutrients and great for plants. Uncertified biodegradable items that make it into composting facilities often contaminate the composting material. sorry, the time it takes for a product or package to decompose. A biodegradable product or package will eventually break down into a few organic materials under the right conditions, but there will always be micro waste left behind. On the other hand, the composting process will turn leftover food scraps, yard trimmings, and compostable food products like PLA, lined paper cups, into a hummus. This leaves behind no plastics or chemicals of concern. Compostable packaging components require microorganisms, humidity, and heat to yield a final composting product. The main difference between the two is that biodegradable materials can take an undetermined amount of time to break down. In contrast, compostable materials will decompose into natural elements within a specific time frame, say less than 80 days. However, it will require certain conditions like those found in an industrial composting facility to do so. All of these solutions come with their own benefits and limitations, but are steps forward in considering more sustainable alternatives to standard packaging. And always more education is needed in this space. Myth 2, green verbiage on packaging. The EPA definition of biodegradable packaging is: the term biodegradable, when used for marketing purposes, includes a time component regarding the length of time it takes for the plastics to fully degrade. It is deceptive to make an unqualified degradable claim for items entering the solid waste stream if the items do not completely decompose within 1 year after customary disposal. The increasing demand for eco-friendly packaging has led some manufacturers to label products and packaging as biodegradable or eco-friendly. And manufacturers may get away with this term even when it takes years or decades for the product or packaging to completely break down. Environmental benefits are implied, but the claims don't match what the consumers believe they're getting. One of the best definitions is the EPA definition that I just covered. The Federal Trade Commission produces their green guides to prevent marketers or to assist marketers from making misleading claims. For compostable claims, manufacturers must have scientific evidence demonstrating that all materials become usable compost within a specific period of time. Fact 2, greenwashing. Greenwashing is the process of conveying a false impression or providing misleading information about how a company's product or packaging are more environmentally sound. This type of packaging is typically made from natural sources such as sugarcane or cassava. However, for it to turn into compost, it needs to meet the right conditions at an industrial composter. If the compostable packaging ends up in a landfill or in the natural environment, it won't turn into compost. It will just last for decades and not decompose as it's meant to break down. Also, it is not good for PLA plastics to end up at a recycling facility because it may be too small to process, such as cutlery, and it has the potential to contaminate the recycling stream. And it's very confusing if packages aren't labeled correctly because a lot of bioplastics look like regular plastics. Ways to look for greenwashing on products or packaging is to always look at the label first before the claims on the package. Look for proof of green practices such as a USDA seal, green seal, or non-GMO seal. And do your research. Research goes a long way in educating yourself as to the claims the marketer is trying to make their products seem more eco-friendly. Myth 3, testing, what's that? The certification process for compostable packaging is complex, very time-consuming, and costly. There are beliefs that if a manufacturer buys certified compostable resin, the work is done, when in fact, the product package itself needs to be tested in its final form such as roll stock, container, or cutlery, with the print, labels, and any adhesives to become certified.